So as mentioned, Neil Kimberley is the Vice President of Strategy for Essentia Water, a very fast-growing alkaline water.
Yes.
How are you?
Great, thanks. Having a great show. How about you guys?
Oh,
fantastic.
dandy.
Cool.
You were part of the beverage school speaker lineup yesterday. Fantastic. I heard a lot of really good things. I actually left the room for a minute and came back in, and everyone seemed like they were in a trance watching you. So well done with that.
I think that was just the look of fear as I was trying to lay
Were
the
you
reality to them.
while I was gone?
I'm not sure I was hypnotizing them. I was just merely trying to lay out some of the challenges that a lot of entrepreneurs face.
Okay.
And there are certainly a lot of those, starting with funding and finishing with actually having a product that does what you says it's going to do.
Did you see the new beverage showdown this morning?
I saw a number of them. I had to stop out halfway through, but I did see Immortal. I did see the Vienna Cold Brew.
Okay.
There's some really interesting products there.
Venice Cold Brew.
Venice Cold Brew.
Yeah,
that's it, yeah.
yeah. You were a judge once, and I'll get off this in a second. But you were a judge once. What's your thoughts on what you saw today?
A high level of innovation, a lot of coffee products. Interesting how that's moved away from tea. Just everybody trying to find a slightly different angle and resolving many of the same product need state issues that are kind of out there right now. Not sure I saw anything that's truly revolutionary yet, but I didn't see everything. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow morning and seeing the presentations.
Right. Now, I'm sorry, go ahead, John.
I was going to say, let's talk about water, right?
Yeah, let's talk about Essentia water.
Let's talk about premium water.
Yeah,
guys.
Premium water, excuse me.
Premium water, but you sell a very specific kind of functional water. I mean, it's premium, but there's a function-based aspect to it, which is alkaline. It's a 9.5 pH water. You got one right here. You got one with a sports cap. How much of what you're selling is sort of understood by your consumers?
So there's a really interesting dynamic that's happened. Premium water has been growing the last 3 years, roughly 20% per month over that time period. So the category has gone from ballpark about $1 billion to about $1.8 billion in about 3 years. So a lot of people have been more interested in the premium water space, and I think that as they've become more interested in it, they've been learning more about it. So alkalinity has been around for a while, since the 1930s. Ionization is actually what Essentia does. It kind of changes it. And I think that gives a reason for people to purchase it and to try it. But I think they stay for other reasons. I think primarily because of functional benefit. It is a better hydrating water. And I think that the alkalinity is one way of looking at it. The reality is that people want better hydration. Essentia delivers it, and that's our opportunity.
As far as the potential for Essentia, the potential for sales and distribution of the brand.
Yep.
How far do you think it can go? Because you've done really well in natural for a long time. As one of the fastest growing waters in natural. Now you're really doing a strong push into grocery, smaller format stores, including gas and convenience, C-stores. Where's the opportunity there, and sort of ACV-wise, where are you at in those channels?
So distribution-wise, we're probably in about 30% of the universe that's out there right now, just in broad numbers.
Okay.
Premium bottled water, about 60% of it's sold in convenience right now.
Oh, interesting.
So the major learning that we had as we started to build our plans was we had to win in chain convenience, and anybody in water has to do that too. So we've been putting a big push into it. And you're right, we've been big in the natural channel for a while. We're actually the biggest selling water in the spins channels from syndicated research. But what's really interesting to us is this year we've had a couple of months where chain convenience is now selling natural. And as we go into next year, we continue to expand that convenience presence. I think we're going to see even more growth. The reality is that you can sell 10x in terms of revenue in 1 point of convenience distribution than you can in grocery distribution. So it becomes that much more important.
And how has the message of alkalinity been sort of conveyed within or outside of natural, that is? I mean, that consumer presumably isn't as aware of it?
I think that you underestimate the education levels of consumers these days. I found that actually consumers tend to be the most educated about this, then the retailers, then the distributors. So while a lot of the time there seems to be a ground zero that happens in the industry and it kind of goes out from there, alkalinity per se and alkaline diets has been around for a long time. If you look at Google searches, starting in around about 2007, they really started to boost at that point, which is when Essentia really started to grow. To be honest with you, long-term alkalinity of itself, I don't think is necessarily a need state that's something that's going to be out there. What we do have is a better hydrating product because the ionization process that the brand has, and I think that that's what we'll be emphasizing.
Well, I guess in the natural channel too, I mean, alkaline waters have been out for a long time,
Yes.
right? And it seems like, only since Essentia has kind of gone after it in the past couple of years has it really had any growth, right?
Well, we've spawned 100,000 imitators, it seems, but that's the way that goes.
So I guess maybe to your point, maybe it is just about the message of better hydration, right?
And, the brand's been around for 18 years. At some point, it just starts to click.
Right.
The message I normally have to most entrepreneurs is that nobody's an overnight success. And I would normally say, Snapple launched in 1976, didn't sell its first million cases till 1983. Nantucket launched in 1994, didn't sell its first million cases till almost 2000. Essentia, been around since 1998. We're really only starting to see that big traction and growth right now.
And I guess the branding change probably had a big impact on that too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The label change that undertook, I think, in late 2011, beginning of 2012, really started boosting the brand in a more differentiated direction. And I think has captured a moment within the category and has kind of defined it too. And you wouldn't have seen many waters with black labels on them a few years ago, but now, again, there's plenty of imitators and some big ones coming out with red and black on their labels, so that's kind of interesting as well.
Now, we're living in at a time where we saw, some really big deals take place in the beverage industry with the sale of Kavita to PepsiCo, buy to Dr. Pepper Snapple, mega deals. That's frankly, I don't think we've seen really, just outright buys like that in the last few years. How much pressure do you guys feel, to be bought, to be acquired?
I don't think we have any pressure for that right now. We have so much opportunity in front of us as a business right now. The growth is out there to be had. We don't need any additional help on this. We don't need any major strategic assistance with anything right now. What we have is great growth, great data coming out of retailers, and a category that's rising very rapidly. So we can self-sustain ourselves for an extended period right now.
What's the ceiling for Essentia at this point?
Ceiling?
Yeah.
So if Smart Water's $1 billion, maybe ours is $2.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I mean, I guess to ask it another way, what are your goals for Essentia? I mean, do you want to be, do you feel it's realistic to actually pass Smart Water at some point?
I think it's realistic for us to be a significant player in the premium water business. We have 3 very large competitors, or 4 depending on who you speak to. We can play a significant role in that competition because we are highly differentiated, and that's what we intend to do.
Now, those competitors, do they include Core?
We have lots of competitors. It might include Core. It might include other people as well.
Well, I talked to Jerry Rita from Big Geyser last week.
Oh, you did? What did he have to say about Essentia?
And, they happen to distribute both Essentia and Core
They do,
Water.
absolutely.
How's that working out?
It's working out really well. Look, most distributors need a great portfolio of bottled water to compete these days. Many big competitors don't necessarily have that. And the message we take to all of our big distributors is make sure you've got a lot of premium waters because that's where the growth's coming from.
Okay.
Excellent.
Great answer, great interview. Neil, thanks so much for joining us. As always, it's really good talking to you.
My pleasure. Have a great show for the rest of the time, guys.
Thanks so much.
Neil.
And you can
Bye.
hand your mic.